Australia is a large country in the southern hemisphere, known for its diverse landscapes including deserts, rainforests, and coastlines. It is the sixth largest country in the world by area with population of around 25 million people. It is a culturally diverse nation with a mix of indigenous, European, and Asian influences. Australia is a constitutional monarchy with a developed economy driven by industries like mining, agriculture, and tourism. The country is famous for its unique wildlife, including kangaroos and koalas, and offers a vibrant culture with a love for sports, the arts, and outdoor activities.
Colonial history. Australia's colonial past began in 1788 when the British colonizers, primarily convicts and settlers, arrived with the first fleet led by Captain Arthur Phillip. This marked the start of British colonization in Australia. The colonizers aimed to establish a penal colony and expand British territory. Over the following decades, more British colonies were established across the continent, leading to conflicts with the indigenous populations. This period of colonization profoundly impacted indigenous communities, resulting in the dispossession of land and suppression of indigenous cultures.
During Australia's colonial period, key events that shaped the country include the arrival of the first fleet in 1788, initiating British colonization, the frontier wars between European settlers and indigenous Australians, leading to conflict and dispossession, the gold rushes of the mid-19th century, driving economic growth and population expansion, the Federation of Australia in 1901, establishing the modern nation, the implementation of the White Australia Policy 1901 and 1973, impacting immigration and demographics, and the Stolen Generation policies, forcibly removing indigenous children, leaving a lasting impact on indigenous communities and Australian society.
Socio-economic challenges. Australia, despite its reputation as a prosperous nation, grapples with a number of significant socio-economic issues. Income inequality. A persistent problem sees a widening gap between the wealthy and the rest of the population, leading to disparities in access to essential services, education, and healthcare. The cost of living, particularly in major cities, has become a major concern, with housing affordability posing a significant challenge for many Australians, especially young people and low-income earners. This affordability crisis has also contributed to a rise in homelessness and precarious living conditions. Furthermore, the country faces the growing issue of climate changes, with its effects impacting the environment, economy, and communities. The need to transition to more sustainable future while managing the economic implications of this shift presents a complex challenge. Finally, the ongoing issue of indigenous disadvantage, rooted in historical injustice and systemic inequalities, continues to affect the lives of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders peoples. Addressing these disparities in health, education, and economic opportunity remains a critical priority for Australia.
socio-economic challenges facing Australia today can be traced back to enduring legacy of colonial practices. The exploitation of resources, a cornerstone of colonial enterprise, laid the foundation for the economic system that prioritized profit over the well-being of indigenous communities and of the environment. This exploitation continues to manifest in issues like income inequality and the cost of living, as the benefits of resource extraction are not evenly distributed. The division of communities, a key strategy of colonial control, created a social hierarchy that marginalized indigenous Australians and continues to perpetuate systematic inequalities in areas like health, education, and employment. The imposition of foreign governance with its disregard for indigenous sovereignty and cultural practices has led a lasting impact on the social fabric of the nation, contributing to the challenges of indigenous disadvantage and the need for reconciliation. This historical injustice deeply embedded in the fabric of Australian society continue to the shape of country socio-economic landscape, demanding ongoing efforts to address the legacies of colonialism and build a more equitable and just future.
Cultural impact. Colonialism had a profound and lasting impact on Australia's culture, language, and identity, leaving a complex legacy that continues to shape the nation today. The arrival of British settlers in 1788 marked a dramatic shift for the indigenous Australians who had inhabited the continent for tens of thousands of years. The imposition of British culture, language, and laws lead to the suppression of indigenous language and cultural practices, with many traditions and beliefs being lost or marginalized. The stolen generations, a policy of forcibly removing indigenous children from their families and communities, inflicted deep trauma and contributed to the erosion of cultural identity and language transmission. The dominance of English as the official language of Australia further marginalized indigenous language, many of which are now endangered or extinct. The colonial narrative of Australia as a terra nullius, empty land, further contributed to the erasure of indigenous identity and the perception of Australia as a predominantly European nation.
In conclusion, Australia's history, marked by colonization legacy, shaped its present challenges, from socio-economic disparities to cultural erosion. The nation's path forward requires reconciliation, equity, and environmental stewardship. Embracing diversity and addressing historical injustice paved the way for a more inclusive and sustainable future for all Australians.